This is Hannibal from the HannibalTV.com, and we're with the massive Brody King, who had his last match in PCW Ultra tonight. Do you want to just talk to us a little bit about how important PCW Ultra has been to your career?
Well, first off, hopefully it's not the last match ever, but for now it is the last match for me for the foreseeable future. PCW has been there literally since the beginning of my wrestling career. I've been wrestling about 3.5 years now. I remember Mike coming to the Santino Brothers dojo where I trained, and he saw me working like security for one of our house shows, and he saw my size, my look, and my tattoos and stuff. He's like, "You're gonna be on the PCW roster one day, and you're gonna be great." And I'm like, "Dude, I haven't even had my first match yet, so how do you know?" But you know, you kind of forget about that for a little while because they hadn't had their first show yet. And then a few months go by and he invites me and a couple other students to their first show. We go and help out, set up the chairs and stuff, and meet with the guys. And I met Joe, the Almighty Sheik, and they were kind of like, "Hey, why don't you come back and like do the seminars and, you know, help with ring crew and stuff like that." And I did, and I was actually put in charge of ring crew for about the first 1.5 years of PCW, and that was like the first 1.5 years of me in the business as well. So that really helped me be around guys like Sammy Callahan and guys like Shane Strickland, and you know, these guys that are turning into like these main event indie guys, and I'm able to pick their brain. I'm able to ask them questions. They're able to watch my matches, my dark matches, my beginning matches, and be like, "You should do this, you should do this." And it's like, on top of those guys, they're also bringing in some of the like best veterans around. They're bringing in Terry Funk. They're bringing in Jake the Snake Roberts. They're bringing tonight we have Animal here. I mean, to be able to get a little feedback from the top indie guys and then from the veterans of our business is huge. It's like, you know.
We'll cut it.
Sorry. You piece of shit. The knowledge that I've gained in such a short amount of time from being at PCW and being around the locker room and being around the office here is invaluable to me personally.
Now, PCO has wrestled for us a lot. He's a former Great North Wrestling Canadian champion, and I recently saw a great match between you and him in MLW. You've had I guess about 4 matches with him now. Any thoughts on him? And I guess without saying what's going on, he's moving on to greener pastures as well, similar to you apparently.
I mean, PCO is like, he's like the reverse career of mine, like where my career was just kind of taking off this year. He went from, you know, having a career in the 90s with WWF and, you know, in the wrestling career, and then his career dwindled down. But then this year he had this resurgence where he knew that he had more to give, and he was willing to give it all, and God damn it, he did. Like, he's doing stuff that no 50-year-old man I've ever seen has ever done. I mean, if I'm 50 and I can do a moonsault off the top rope, that'll be a feat. But he is a maniac. He's definitely not human. I've never seen anybody, let alone a 50-year-old man, take that front flip bump onto the apron and get back up like nothing happened. So yeah, he's unbelievable in his own right.
Brody Steele, does that mean you may have had a little bit of an influence by Bruiser Brody, because you kind of look like him in some respects, minus he didn't have the tattoos obviously? Yeah,
I mean, when I first started training, I was very like, I didn't know a lot about wrestling. I knew, like, I watched wrestling since I was a kid. I kind of like faded out in my teen years, got back into it a little bit in my 20s, and then, sorry guys.
Oh, no problem.
But yeah, I got back into it in my late 20s, so I like didn't have a vast knowledge of like Japanese wrestling and independent wrestling. So like when I started training, I got thrown all these names of guys that I should check out, guys that I would like, guys that I should maybe start emulating in the ring. And you know, Bruiser Brody, Stan Hansen, Dr. Dusty Williams, Terry Gordy, like Bam Bam. Those were all the guys that were being thrown at me as like agile, big guys that had this like crazy wild man look. And Bruiser Brody was like the one that I just kind of gravitated towards the most. I loved his in-ring work. I loved the way that he moved, like, you know, you never saw a dude that was 6'8" and like 270 throwing a drop kick in the 1980s, and that was what he was doing, and that's what I wanted to be as like a big man wrestler. I didn't want to be the big boot choke slam guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but that's personally not what I wanted. So that kind of like motivated me to be like, there's more than just being the stereotypical big man.
And can you tell us a little bit about your tattoos? They're very interesting. Is this just something you started when you were younger? And
yeah, I mean, like, I would say my two obsessions since like I was a child was tattoos and professional wrestling. I mean, later on it became punk rock music, which also added to the affliction of tattoos. So I mean, I remember my mom always says that I would, you know, be infatuated with people's like tattoos on their arms when I was a kid, and getting the tattoo magazines when I was a teen, and then, you know, started getting tattooed when I was like 19. Now I'm 31, so got tattoos all over my body.
And finally, for the almighty Sheik, we actually did a career interview with him recently for his 20-year anniversary. Any thoughts on him? You were part of his faction, I think, for a while.
Yeah, War Beast. I mean, Sheik has taught me a lot. He is he's a very blunt person. So if he likes something, he will tell you. If he doesn't, he will tell you as well. And you know, he also understands that his opinion is not God. Like, as long as you take the advice and try something, like maybe you try it and it doesn't work, maybe you try it and it does work. For me, a lot of the stuff that he's given me advice on has worked, and he saw a vision for me within PCW, and I think that I was able to come to a standard that he was willing to, you know, keep booking me and keep pushing me to greater moments, to where like I just had one of my best matches probably in my career with Sammy at PCW.
And where can we follow you on social media if people want to check you out?
Twitter and Instagram at Brody X King, and then Facebook just Brody King.
All right, well, thank you very much for speaking to us. I know you're taking a huge step in your career, probably in a week or so, and I wish you the best of luck with that.
Thank you so much.